Funding for Schaffrillas is provided by NordVPN, the sponsor of today's video. Tune in till the end to hear all about their amazing service. Okay guys, bear with me for a second. I've got a little quick video for y'all, because as I was driving just now, I was stricken with an unbearable truth. And I don't want to be the only one cursed with knowledge. Listen, after all these years, it finally hit me why the Cars franchise is so terrible. I don't know why it took this long, but I get it now. This isn't a review or retrospective of these movies, maybe that'll come another day. This is just a quick breakdown about why Cars, at its core, is fundamentally broken. But in order to fully explain this, we need to take a look at Toy Story. Now everybody loves Toy Story because Toy Story is fun and exciting and entertaining and whatnot. But more importantly than that, Toy Story is conceptually sound. What's the basic idea here? Toys are alive. Okay, what do they do now that they're alive? Well, what's a toy's purpose in real life? To get played with by a kid. There you go. That's what toys in this universe want. Each movie explores a different concept that stems from that one branching idea. First movie, what if my kid gets a new favorite toy? Jealousy arises. A conflict that is unique to toys stems from said jealousy. Second movie, I'm a disposable piece of plastic. What happens if my kid breaks me and decides to move on? Should I go live inside a glass for eternity and be safe from that happening but also never be loved again? Boom. Conflict unique to toys. Third movie, uh-oh, my kid grew up. Should I stay with him or move on to a new kid or make a bunch of kids happy at a daycare? Unique conflict. Fourth movie, my new kid doesn't like me. Maybe I should just get lost. Literally. And help other toys find owners with my sheep herding GF. Unique conflict for a toy. So that's 4 different movies that all present different plot lines that specifically revolve around the characters being toys. But there's another piece of the puzzle. Setting. Name the first toy-related place that comes to your mind. I got one. Toys R Us. Ooh, too soon, sorry. But like, a toy store probably comes to mind. They go there in the second movie. How about like, a daycare? They have toys. Boom. Third movie. Ooh, what about a carnival with all those stuffed animals you can win? Fourth movie. A moving van? Yes. An antique store? Yes. A garbage dump, an arcade crane game, Pretty Woman? Yes, 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 yes. Toy Story has locations explicitly related to toys, or places that would be interesting to see a toy navigate, like an airport or a garbage dump or something. It explicitly ties all of its concepts, characters, and settings back to the idea of being a toy. Now let's look at Cars. Everyone and their mother has asked, why are they cars? Which I always interpreted as, how are these cars living and breathing and talking, and what happened to human society? But no, this whole time, the real question was, what narrative or thematic purpose is fulfilled by them being cars? How does the existence of sentient cars tie into the plots, settings, and character arcs? The answer is, it doesn't. What comes to mind when you think of cars? They drive. Ooh, there's racing. They race. And what about a demolition derby? That's a thing that cars do. Yeah, that's about the extent to which the idea of living cars affects the world. There's racing and there's a demolition derby in the third movie. And guess what? Both of these concepts could have been accomplished by humans driving cars. I mean, I guess if Lightning McQueen was a person driving a car, he couldn't have stuck his car tongue out to get that 3-way tie in the race. So, I mean, I guess that justifies them being living cars. Sure. But really stop and think about this. First movie, a hotshot racing guy gets stuck in a small town and he learns to enjoy the simple life. That is not a story that needed to be told by sentient cars. Second movie. Third movie, hotshot racing guy gets injured because he's old and he needs to retire. He tries to prove that he can still do a good job racing. That is definitely not a story that needed to be told by sentient cars. More on that later. There is no thematic cohesion between the Cars movies. Each Toy Story has a unique toy-related theme and conflict that all tie together when viewed as a franchise, but all feel distinct within their own movies. What's going on with Cars? Well, for starters, none of the themes are car-related. Cars aren't alive in real life, so the only feeling we could realistically imagine a car having would be how they feel about humans. Oh boy, I hope my human drives me today or gets me a new paint job. Golly gee. Or maybe cars resent humans for forcing them to drive places against their will. I hate my human overlords. I want to rebel against them. Okay, those could maybe be stories, I guess. But no, there are no humans. The cars are essentially the humans, because they have no connection to real humans. They just live in a suspiciously human-like society and act just like humans and have human aspirations. And there's no real societal obstacles in their way to achieving these human aspirations because they live in a society built for them and only them. So in a good Pixar movie like Ratatouille, the whole idea is that Remy has human-like aspirations despite being an outsider to human society. That's the conflict, and watching him overcome that is great. There's a reason within the story for him to be a rat, and we see how the rat and the human worlds intersect. Cars is a boring world that has no reason to be about cars, with no themes that really delve into the idea of living vehicles. Instead, it's about a sports star who gets humbled by a small town and following your dreams and not giving up even when everyone has told you it's time to retire because you need to stop embarrassing yourself. Okay, I should probably mention the car elephant in the room. Cars 2 is a cinematic disaster. Everyone knows that. But honestly, after everything I've just said, after taking into account how narratively and thematically barren the Cars franchise really is, what else was there to do with this series? The very concept of Cars is so dumb and so nonsensical that in a weird way, turning it into a spy thriller isn't such an illogical step. Why not? Once again, we have a movie that has no conceptual reason to be about cars, but at this point, why not embrace the inherent insanity of this universe? Why not do something completely batshit crazy that destroys any preconceived notions about what a Cars movie can be? It's not like anything in the first movie warranted everyone being a car. Why not make that fact all the more blatant in the sequel? Just to clarify, Cars 2 is a frustrating, god-awful movie, but that's not because of the concept. I don't mind sheer insanity when it's done well, and this was not it. And hey, to 2's credit, it at least has plot points that revolve around cars using a certain brand of oil and blowing up as a result. And there's like this secret society of lemon cars or something. I don't remember, man. I'm just going off Wikipedia. These aren't compelling plot points or themes that needed to be this way, but at least this movie tied its plot into the whole car world concept somewhat, even if it was horrible. But then everyone says Cars 3 is the good one, right?
No.
It's moderately okay. It has a pretty nice story to it. I feel like the whole I decide when I'm done mentality was a metaphor for the franchise after Pixar made that last abortion. Everyone was telling them to quit making Cars movies, but they were like, nah, let's send this franchise out on a high note. Well, good for them. The movie is still boring. It's filled with sport movie cliches. It has a lot of tedious, droning dialogue scenes. The fact that their cars actually hinders the main conceit of the movie. It's been an indiscriminate amount of years since the other films, and Lightning McQueen is told that he's getting old and needs to retire. But like, how am I supposed to tell that? He looks the same. How do cars age? I don't like asking this philosophical car questions that everyone else does, except here it's integral to the plot. How did Doc Hudson die? I understand Paul Newman died, but there is no explanation given for the character. The movie vaguely implies its old age, but how is that possible?
This makes no sense!
I need to know this now because that's what the movie is about. It's a pseudo-emotional story about Lightning accepting his role as an aging mentor figure whose best years are behind him, but the movie never expresses how or why? And yeah, despite this movie's best efforts, the emotional beats don't work because Cars is inherently a joke. Nobody came to this movie to feel. They came because... Actually, I don't know anyone who saw this movie in theaters. I didn't see it in theaters. I checked it out on Netflix one day because I was bored, and I remained bored throughout the film's duration. Because I can't empathize with Lightning McQueen. He is a meme. He will never be anything more than ka-chow. This isn't like Shrek, which has funny, quotable meme lines, but also a ton of heart and intelligence poured into 75% of the movies in the franchise, with just the one bad film we can disregard. The concept itself is fundamentally broken. Do you really think the story and the characters can save it? Those elements are decent at best, but the entire conceit behind this universe undercuts their strengths. These characters can't emote or interact normally, the locations don't tie into the central concept, the jokes are tepid and unfunny. Thank God for YouTube poop, otherwise I don't think I'd have any fond memories of this franchise. I mean, they're just giant hunks of plastic waiting to be thrown away. That's all a car is. So yeah, I'm not sure why it took me this long to figure out why Cars never stood a chance as a franchise. Pixar has always been about showcasing secret worlds, that of toys, bees, of bugs, of monsters, of rats, of robots, of emotions. How these things feel, how they interact with the world around them, and their relationships with humans. Whether they get a sense of purpose from these interactions, or a sense of fear. A sense of longing to join them, or a sense of oneness. Seeing these separate but connected worlds interact is really compelling, but Cars treads all over it. And this Cars mentality has tainted a Pixar movie that held way more promise. I can talk smack about this laughable trilogy all I want, but The Good Dinosaur was such a painful disappointment. Yet again, we have a movie that doesn't live up to the potential themes of its concept. The whole idea is that dinosaurs didn't get killed by the comet, which lets them coexist with humans. The title implies that dinosaurs are considered evil, or maybe they are evil, but one dinosaur will change that conception by befriending or saving a human. It could have been such a cool idea. But no, instead we get a movie about an unlikable twerp dinosaur who's basically a human, going on a super basic journey with a tiny human boy who's essentially a dog. There is no reason for this story to be about dinosaurs. There's farming and ranching and creepy death cults, which are all human concepts that don't really make much sense when you translate them into dinosaur form. All the cool themes that could have been explored about dinosaurs and humans interacting and learning to accept each other have been yeeted to the shadow realm for no good reason. This entire story reeks of missed potential. It reeks of laziness. It reeks of Cars. And that sucks because unlike Cars, this could have been great. And now it never will be.
Hi, I'm Mr. Bamison, one of the few people who edited the video that you are currently watching. I agree with Schaffrillas about how The Good Dinosaur was wasted potential, but the premise that Schaffrillas mentioned already exists. Well, somewhat, and it's called How to Train Your Dragon. The entire trilogy revolves around the relationship between our two protagonists, and how it affects the world around them. First movie, what happens when you befriend a dragon? Second movie, what happens when he turns against you? And third movie, what happens when you have to let him go? The themes for the movie work because the protagonists live in a world where dragons and humans coexist. If you haven't checked them out yet, I suggest that you give it a watch. It's very exciting and thrilling, and the world that they live in is very interesting. Well, anyway, that's just my 2 cents.
I'm glad Pixar is returning to original work now, but they need to remember what made their original works great. The intersections between different worlds and the powerful emotions that develop as a result. And hey, it's not like the Cars trilogy and The Good Dinosaur are the worst movies in the world. They're actually pretty good. By Illumination standards. Also, one more thing I just realized about Cars. Hacking has got to suck in this universe, because you can just take control of another person's body and make their limbs explode and stuff. If Lightning McQueen really doesn't want to have his entire body combust as a result of some evil lemon society hacking into him, he should really consider getting NordVPN. And you should too. Hackers don't have access to your car-like appendages, but they can easily access your computer, phone, and all your accounts across various platforms. Plus, with factors like changing political environments, net neutrality litigation, and the dangers of open networks, NordVPN is an invaluable tool to browse the internet safely and protect your passwords and identity. NordVPN is the only VPN to get a perfect score from PC Mag. With thousands of servers in over 61 countries, up to 6 simultaneous connections, and a risk-free 30-day money-back guarantee, it's easy to see why. If you go to nordvpn.com/Schaffrillas, you can get a special offer where NordVPN only costs $2.99 a month, 75% off its usual price. That's less than the cost of Disney Plus. So if you can shell out $7 a month to watch your boy Lightning McQueen win himself some piston cups over and over, you should certainly spend less than half that amount to secure your online web browsing. Plus, for a short time, use the code Schaffrillas for an extra month of NordVPN for free. Remember, nordvpn.com/Schaffrillas. Go there for some incredibly reliable online security.